ain't gonna tell y'all what just happened. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk Tuesday. Oh my gosh, I have to laugh at myself. But again, it's Tuesday. It's February the 4th. We are 3 minutes late because I forgot to hit the live button. And I'm steady talking. I'm like, why is nobody commenting back like y'all usually do? But anywho, my silly self. You know how sometimes you just gotta laugh at yourself. And so listen, welcome to Talk Tuesday. Come on in. Let me know that you're I'm steady talking, y'all. And I'm like, what? People usually say hello. I forgot to hit the daggone live button. Oh my gosh, y'all know me. But anywho, come on in. It's February the 4th. It is Talk Tuesday tonight. We have a very, very special guest. And I'll say it again because I was talking to myself, okay? We have a very, very special guest that I've known since he was in his mama belly, okay? And so I'm very, very excited for our special guest tonight. Listen, guys, you know what Talk Tuesday is? Talk Tuesday is conversation of inspiration, motivation, and empowerment. And so if you are an author, an entrepreneur, or if you want to share your testimony or your journey, please, y'all belong on Talk Tuesday. Okay. So just send me a DM or email me or send me a text. Let me know you want to be a guest on Talk Tuesday. Also, let me know that you're here. Come on in the comments, say hello, hey, how you doing? Of course, my regular is here, my twin sister. Hello, Earlene. And I do say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening because we have a lot of people from all over the world that watches Talk Tuesday. So, so I thank you for your support. I thank God for giving me the vision of Talk Tuesday. It started off with just a live. I don't know, I was just probably chatting, running my mouth. God say, take it further. And so we did. And he gave me the name of Talk Tuesday. And so I am so very, very blessed to have Talk Tuesday. I am your host, founder of Talk Tuesday. Now, tonight is very, very special because it's going to be a Talk Tuesday takeover. So my guest tonight, listen, he's just going to take over Talk Tuesday. You're not going to see me on the screen. I'm going to be in the background. I'm going to be running the board. I'm going to be watching your comments and I'm going to be running the ticker. Okay. So that is my job tonight. Again, our guest was on Talk Tuesday. He's been on Talk Tuesday before. It's been a minute. And so I had to give him a little call and send him a text and say, you're up. And so again, I thank my guests for coming on. Let me give us a shout out right quick. 2 shout outs to Siobhan Whitehead for my new merch. Thank you, Dr. Vaughn. Also, too, before I bring my guest on, and I don't want to forget at the end of Talk Tuesday, today is the recognition and celebration. We're going to call it a celebration of it is World Cancer Day. And if many of you don't know, I am a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer at the age of 3 years old. Went through some medical difficulties. But listen, God healed me by age 4. So yes, I am a survivor. I know a lot of people are surviving. They're still going through cancer treatments. And so I just want to say, I'm sending strength to all those on this journey. Again, today is World Cancer Day. So we want to recognize that. Listen, I'm not going to keep talking. Again, my job tonight, I'm going to be in the background. I'm going to bring my guest on. His name is Therm James Jr. If the name sounds a little familiar, there is a Therm James Sr., his dad, my pastor, still his pastor. And so again, like I said, I've known him since he was in his mama's belly. But Therm James, I feel funny saying that because I call him TJ. TJ, he is my nephew. TJ is, listen, he's a husband, he's a father, he's a preacher, he's a teacher, he's a mentor. He is the pastor of student life at the new Macedonia Baptist Church in DC. Okay, that's just a little background. I don't need to say nothing else, right? But let's bring on our guest because he's backstage. Hey,
Hey.
hey, hey, TJ.
What's going on?
I'm talking, and I ain't even hit the live
Yes.
button. Like, girl, what is
I
But
was laughing
everybody?
too because I'm like, I kept going to the page like, I don't see it. I don't see it yet. Like, okay. But we good.
Oh
We
my
here. We
gosh!
here.
Listen, I always say you gotta laugh at yourself. But tonight, everybody, this is Therm James Jr. I call him TJ. He's my nephew. And again, like I said, I sent him a little text. I say, you're up. Okay. And it's you by yourself. So again, I'm getting ready to go in the back, y'all. So listen, again, if you have any questions as TJ is presenting, if you have any comments, put them in the comment section. We surely do appreciate it. And we thank you all for joining again, Talk Tuesday. So that's enough of me. I'm going in the background, and so TJ, you can just take over.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Listen, I'm so excited to be here for Talk Tuesday. Uh, as Gerald, well, I call her Aunt Gerald, said, she did hit me up. You know, family does, they do stuff like that. Last week I was away for my doctoral cohort. I'm currently pursuing my doctorate in ministry at United Theological Seminary. And so she texted me like, I need you next Tuesday. And I'm like, okay, because y'all know how family is. When family calls, you have to show up. And so I'm excited to be here to kick off Black History Month and for us to have a real riveting conversation. Probably, please put it in the chat. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. I need you to go ahead and text somebody, call somebody. So, especially them people who have been watching the news crazy. We got planes falling out the sky. We got Donald Trump just being Donald Trump. He is what we thought he is. And so I really want us to kind of see, where do we say? So for the next few moments, I really want to have a discussion. I don't want you to feel like I'm talking at you, but I want to talk with you from this idea of Christ and culture. Where do we go from here, right? So if we really look at it, there's been a lot going on as of late, right? Uh, there is a president who has made it very clear that he is against the least and the last and the left out with trying to strip DEI initiatives. He's done that also. He's trying to dismantle the Department of Education. He's also targeting out those who are considered illegals, undocumented, although it seems like he's only targeted out those who are Black and brown. And so there is a lot going on right now. And so kind of to center ourselves, to ground ourselves, when I was thinking on our what to talk about and our conversation for the night, I instantly went to the book of Exodus, the book of Exodus. And I know everybody, you hit Exodus, you think of Moses leading, bringing the Israelites out, and we think of them going to worship at the mountain. But before we go there, remember, Exodus is the back of Genesis. Y'all remember Joseph? And so how they got to Egypt, things were going good. Everything was popping. It's great. Joseph, he rises and he becomes the prince of Egypt. But then Exodus 1 and 8 tells us, and there arose a new king over Egypt who did not know Joseph. And he said, behold, the people of Israel are too many and too mighty for us. Come, let us deal with them shrewdly, lest they multiply, and if war breaks out, they join our enemies and fight against us and escape from the land. I think in many ways, we're in a really weird space, right? We're in a weird space because I want us to really dive into Christ and culture, right? Where are we as Christians, and particularly as Black Christians? I remember a few years ago, I was working for a job and we did this thing and they were talking about church. And so someone said, a lady, a young lady said, I'll never forget it. She said the church was cool back in the 60s, you know, with Dr. King and them. That's when we needed them. But we don't need them anymore. And I thought that was interesting because there was an argument that the church had become irrelevant, unnecessary. But even some people would even say the church has become irresponsible. We have focused more on buildings and budgets than building communities and building people. And so, what do we do when it looks like hope has gone hoarse? Or I'll put it like this, where it seems like love has got laryngitis. The hope of the gospel is that none shall be lost. The love of the gospel is that Jesus came for everybody. But if you like me, it's like, how do we feel in Black History Month where federal government employees can't even celebrate no more? Where people who made promises after the death of George Floyd seemed like they just went off. And can we be honest, since it's Talk Tuesday, can I be honest? During the George Floyd issue, I had one simple problem. And y'all might want to throw me out after this. My problem wasn't with white people, wasn't with people who are not black. Here was my problem. George Floyd, before he died, most black people wouldn't have talked to. Most black people, yeah, you know, okay, not you. I know you said not me, yeah, you. If he would have come up to your house, this was a large black man who had a history of substance abuse. He was not polished. He was not a person who was not going to wear a three-piece suit. He was not very much articulate for that fact of the matter. But yet and still, once he died and racism showed itself, then as black people, we came out and said, this is right, this is wrong, this injustice is wrong. But my question is, if he was still alive, would you speak to him? If he was still alive, would you invite him over your house for Thanksgiving? And I think if we're going to talk about the culture, sometimes we spend more time critiquing that which we're not a part of instead of speaking truth to that which we reside in. It's easy for me to talk about Aunt Gerald and we and that, and I can talk about what the Austins doing, but if I never correct what the James are doing, I failed. And so I think right now, if we're going to talk about Christ and culture, we got to have a family meeting. Where are we as a black culture? There is one of my favorite quotes by James Baldwin. He says, to be Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be enraged almost all the time. Because sometimes it's like I'm fighting the inside and the outside. So walk with me through this conversation. Look at what we are seeing on the outside. There is a rise in hate crimes. There's a rise in white supremacy. There is a rise in misogyny. There's a rise in all these things where it's anti-us. But are we actually going to talk about when we anti-us? I just have a question. I have a question. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. When do we say for the culture in a positive situation? So you can see the outside. The outside is Donald Trump. The outside is white supremacy. The outside is all the systems that are against us. But the inside is what happens where it seems like we have gotten more money with them and we've lost our morals. I want to argue, and come on, we talking that we've got to learn how to be relevant through revelation, but not want to be relevant with just revenue. Let me walk it back, because we must be relevant through revelation and not just through revenue. In other words, money is not everything. If we're honest about it, this is the first time black people really have money. As a collective, when we look at it as a collective, we have more wealth than we've ever had, and yet we got more problems than we have got. We have our collective conscience has been gone. Why is it that when we are looking for a presidential race, we don't see Angela Rye out? We don't see a Tamika Mallory out on the front lines. We don't see people who've been fighting for justice and fighting with integrity. But what we see is a hip hop artist. And this is no shade to the hip hop community. I love rap and I love hip hop, but I'm gonna come back that in a little bit. But why is it that our relevance is only for people who have money, but people who have no wisdom? Revelation is something that means that I speak out of a well of wisdom to get. So I have an issue with that. Dr. Lee P. Washington, he built that great church out there in PG County, Reed Temple. I heard him say this, and I wrote this down. I want to share it with you. We cannot be dependent on technology with no theology. If you understand TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, but you have lack of an understanding of the wisdom of God, that literally means that you've only been wrapped up in the wisdom of this world. Where has it gotten us? Because real revelation allows you to see beyond where you at. Remember, we're talking about Black history. One of my favorite people, listen, Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman said, I would have saved more slaves if they knew they were slaves. And on the inside of us, we have failed to do some spring cleaning. We think that our money saves everything. Because I drive like this and I live like this, that now I can be morally bankrupt. Harriet Tubman, here's the thing. Although she was not that educated, and I watched, there's a movie that came out about her a few years ago, and I loved it because she had spells. She would just pass out. Now, y'all come on, think about it. Can you imagine running away with a slave who passed out? We about to get caught. I don't know where I'm going, and you just passing out. But it was in those moments that she would get revelation from God to help her to free other people. That's because she was depending on something coming from God. I mean, think about it. Think about it. Even like Nat Turner, his rebellion. He had a dream about taking over. Think about these leaders. They didn't have as much education as we have. They clearly didn't have money. They were slaves, and yet they would get fresh revelation. And maybe the reason why we can't get no revelation because we more tied to our money than our morals. Don't get quiet now. I mean, we are so bankrupt morally as a culture. People can just go crazy and you support them. How? Maybe listen. Maybe it's me. It's no way. Some people that goes unnamed because they change their name every week, Kanye, Ye, whatever. You done lost your mind 3-4 times, and I'm still, I want Yeezys because they look good. My big brother, Dr. Jamal Bryant, I just seen in Atlanta, he's giving Target 40 days, and we're supposed to be boycotting Target. And I think it's a wonderful idea. Here is my problem. Black people have no backbone. As long as it feels nice and it looks nice, we let people treat us any type of way. And so the question is, are we going to come up and prepare ourselves and be who we really can be? Because my thing is, for these companies and for this nation, don't treat me like a mistress. If you can't come and date me in the daytime, you can't come see me at night. And we allow the outside to mistreat us because we mistreat ourselves on the inside. I mean, it is one of the things where we got to understand is we've lost our prophetic voice. And I'm not just talking about preaching from the pulpit. I'm talking about mothers and fathers raising your kids. We have a generation of parents who, I know we talk bad, but you're more afraid of them posting that they don't love you on TikTok than raising our kids. We've lost it where our schools are going crazy, where it literally at times, and we must understand that this can't happen, because if hope gets hoarse and love gets laryngitis, then that means what's next for us? Think about it. So we got to be relevant to a point where it's not about the money. It's about the revelation, the revelation, and the idea that, guess what? I need to be something. I need to feed something. What made us always great as a people is we were the moral voice of America. Think with me. Whenever America's in trouble, they always go find a Black voice to speak to their soul. So if we've lost our position of morality for the sake of money, we come just as corrupt. Now, I get it. I'm not saying, let me be clear. I don't want nobody saying, well, hey, listen, I think we should have money. I think we need more money. We need to make sure we have institutions. We need to fund our institutions. We need to fund our communities. We need all those things. But here it is. Money must always be a tool, but don't let money make you a trick. Can I say that? See, I'm glad I'm not in church. I can say what I really want to say. Some of us, we sell our body just for a couple dollars. You sell your integrity. You allow money to make you a trick, and you don't use money as a tool. And so what happens is you feel like because you're relevant that you've done something, but you have done nothing but sell your soul. All right. So that's the first thing. But if we are going to flip it, understanding that we got stress on the outside, we got internal strife on the inside, we have to learn how to have a realness that reconciles the real. All right. A realness that reconciles the real. All right. Nika, listen, we keep it real. We keep it real. But me being real simply means this, that in my realness is to attach myself to other people that are real and to help them. 1 John 4:20 tells us, it says, if anyone says, I love God, but he hates his brother, he is a liar. But he does not love his brother whom he has seen, and can love a God he can't see. Let me put it in layman's terms. I cannot say I love God and I'm singing and I'm shouting, but I ain't never loved the people that I see. And now let me get in trouble because I know, this is a Christian base. Some of us, we get in trouble because we love the church so much, but we ain't got no love for the projects. So we sing and shout on Sunday, but we have no witness on Monday through Saturday. And then we wonder why seems like the culture is taking over Christ. Because you have failed to allow Christ to come impact the culture. My evangelism professor, when I was at Virginia Union, he said something that I thought about, and we were talking about racist, old white guy, love him. And what the professor said, he said, we talked about, and I said, well, people need to get Jesus in their heart. He said, no, that's not it. So many people say they got Jesus in their heart, but you got to get Jesus in your face. See, your heart is hidden internally, but sometimes you need a Jesus that's pointing the finger in your face saying, if you love me, then show that you love me. There is a African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you got to go together. We got to be a real that reconciles the real. Like, really think about it. What I always loved about being Black is that your status didn't make you better than nobody else. Y'all know, going to my grandmother's house or you going to Mama Nell's house. We loved about Big Mama house. Everybody got a plate. Didn't matter if you went to college or not, you got to play. Didn't matter if you had your kids and you were a nuclear family, or maybe you got a kid over here. It didn't matter. Your situation was never more important than the substance of the person. So if we want to heal our nation, and as Black people, I gotta be real, but a real that doesn't push you away, but it pulls you closer. Right? In this moment, it's funny, Aunt Gerald, I think of my sainted mother. I am now, Mom, I have lived more years on earth without my mother than I did with her. But what I find is that no matter where I go, her ministry is still alive. Right? Her ministry is alive, not because she was the richest person, not because she was Michelle Obama and lived in the White House, not even because, let's be honest, it's not like my parents pastored the largest church in the world and they were on TV. Her ministry is alive because she invested in people. But Nico, be honest, Ma wasn't, she wasn't cute and cuddly though. She was gonna keep it real. She was real trenches with it, right? But it was, I can come meet you where you are, not because I'm gonna let you stay there, but I'm gonna pull you where you belong. And I don't know if we have so many people who are willing to get their hands dirty. Baby, I know you sexy red today, but listen, if you just let me get my hands on you, what you started out shouldn't be the, and the problem is so many of us have got out, but we don't look back. Because it's real, we don't know how to be real without reconciling the real. Now, just because I'm messed up does not mean that there's not more value inside of me. Because I need to give us a new flash. Nobody's come to save us. Okay, they are not sending anybody. And if we would be very honest in this Donald Trump presidency, when we see this rise in hate crime, we are going to have to save ourselves. We're going to have to go back to making some spaghetti and calling somebody and say, hey, baby, I got a plate for you. We got to go back to saying, hey, you can ride with me, or don't worry about it. Hey, I know you can afford to go and get your hair done down there. So listen, we're going to come in the kitchen and somebody going to come do this. Because that is a love for one another. And so most of the time we get in trouble because we think something is beneath us. You don't say it. You don't say it out loud. You're quiet about it. You're quiet about it. But you're like, I'm not doing that. Going where? Something happened to me a few years ago. That really impacted me. I was in a store. Had sweatpants on. I'm on the phone, running my mouth. And so I had the deodorant, and I kind of I put it like in my hoodie as I'm going to get in line. And so, person coming out from the back watching the cameras, oh no, you try to steal that. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I was just on the phone. I'm paying. No, don't worry. Get out. Da, da, da. And it was like very demonstrative. And I was just like almost taken back. So, me, I'm going to prove a point. So a couple of days later, what I do is I go in the exact same store, but this time I don't have a sweats on. I'm suited and booted. Y'all got my tie, shirt, tie, suit jacket on. And so I do that, and I intentionally put it under my jacket to see if the eyes in the skies can give me the same treatment. Because I was dressed different. Nobody. I went to the camera and I said, is anybody watching? Yeah, they watching cameras while you asking. I told them what happened, and they said, oh, I didn't know. Because we have been trained, we treat people different upon how they're dressed. And so what made us different, what made us the moral compass is we treated everybody the same. We got to get back to that, y'all. You are my brother from another. We got to get back to that pouring into, because really, when you honestly, if you want to get Christ in the culture, what you must make Christ the virus that overtakes the culture. Because it becomes a whole thing of love. It becomes a whole thing of love. And we have to wrestle with, how do we police ourselves? These are our communities. These are our families. How do we police ourselves? Just heard a story, a coworker of mine. We worked together when I was over at Waverly Elementary. In our 50s. Argument at a basketball game. Someone pulls up, opens fire. And we got to police ourselves. We must be with intentionality and with integrity, and we got to do it early. All right. Let me pause for the cause, just in case you hopped on, don't know what it is. Listen, it's Talk Tuesday. We are really diving really deeply into this idea of Christ and culture. What to do when hope has gone hoarse. And so we've already kind of gone through that relevant. We got to be relevant through revelation and not revenue. So it doesn't matter if we got money. We put morals over money. That's what we are, right? And then we just kind of dive into, we have to have a realness that reconciles the real. All right. So, hey, if y'all have questions, comments, put them in the chat. I don't want you to feel like I said, because it's a conversation. And so what I want to put out there before I end is, things aren't what they appear to be. I'm sorry. Oh, y'all can hear my daughter. I'm so sorry. Yes, I am a father of 5. So I try to find a quiet space, but finding a quiet space is a lot, and yeah, Miss Kyla feels like everything I should do, I should be a part of all the time.
It's not time to go yet, but listen, I forgot to tell y'all about my nephew. Like, listen, he deep like that, right? And but what I like the most is, like, he have you thinking, right? Like, have you thinking, like, what? And so, like, as he said, if you have any questions or listen, I gotta go back and I gotta go back and watch, because I'm trying to take notes, right? And I'm like, y'all know I'm backstage. I'm looking at the comments and stuff like that. But Yeah, but it's a conversation that's necessary, right? And I know a lot of people, you've been commenting and things like that. We appreciate that. But if you have some questions for him, please ask. Listen, he does not mind at all. But I do. I do have a question for you. Like I said, I was taking some notes, T. And one thing, I mean, and you said it, like the technology without theology, our collective conscience is gone. We have lost our morals. But that's one thing I want to ask you a question about, because we're relating it to Black history, right? Like, we have lost our morals, but how do we kind of get those morals back, right? How do we get them back? That's what I want to ask.
That's a good question. I think we have to start by investing in people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's more about who you are than what you have. And so we have to start early, right? So because I respect myself, I respect you because me and you are one,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of that really comes down to all we are all made in the imago Dei, the image of God. When I see you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so my respect for you is because you are an image bearer,
Mm.
right? And you are light, the light of God. Every human being has the light of God. And so I think we have to go back to that. I
Yeah.
think we have to go back into really valuing family. Like, one of the things is, I love that we have Friendsgiving and
Yeah.
all that good stuff and stuff like that. But I believe no matter how jacked up your family is, that God gave you that for a reason. There's something about that collectivity. There's something about that community. And so in that morals is you can learn a lot in family because we got some uncles and aunts we love. We got some that's jacked up. We got some that's crazy. That's right. And so, but not even in that, it is how do we talk about each other? How do we treat each other? Right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is our moral context? Like, and just look at sin. We've always made sin just this evil thing, but really sin is anything that separates me from God.
Mm.
So if I'm disrespecting my neighbor, I'm sinning. Because if
Mm.
my God loves and he loves everybody, it's a sin.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I see that young mother and then she had a baby out of wedlock, and all I do is talk about how trifling she is and how she know better, things like that, it's a sin.
Mm.
Because remember, it's God who condemns, but he never condemns us, he convicts us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happens with a woman who's caught in adultery?
Mm.
He
Mm-hmm.
writes in the sand, he
Yeah.
tells her, go and sin no more.
Yeah.
He don't give her free pass to sin, but he also comes to her defense.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think our moral compass is that we must really embody the work of love.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would say about kind of getting into that.
I have another question too, maybe a couple more. Everybody, again, this is Talk Tuesday, but it's Takeover Tuesday with my nephew, Therm James Jr., which we call him TJ. But also too, and I want to say this too. I do have TJ's Cash App, and I just asked him at the last minute. He'll let you know. I was like, "What's your Cash App?" He's like, "So and I believe in that blessing the man of God, but also believing, because guess what? We all used to always say this, T, and your dad used to say it all the time. We'll spend $20 at McDonald's, right?
Yeah, we
Well,
will
you
quick.
know what I mean, or Chick-fil-A. But we won't bless the man of God, right? And so, this is not you have to, but I'm just saying, if you can, and we don't put no amount, right? You want to send him $5, $10, whatever you may. I know I am going to. But if you can bless the man of God, that's his Cash App. But I want to ask this question too. This is something that you said. You said we concentrate so much on the situation than the substance of the person, right? And I'm just thinking back, Black History Month, and we can talk about the Harriet Tubmans and how she helped free slaves, and oftentimes we'll look at her situation, right? Why did she do it? Why did she want to free these slaves? Why? But we ever look at the substance of her? Or like a Martin Luther King or a Kamala Harris, you know what I mean? Do we ever look at the substance? So I want to, if you can talk a little bit about about that substance of a person, because again, we do look at the situation before we even sometimes even look at a person or understand their journey, you know.
Yeah. So it's funny. My favorite person, y'all should know, is the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, right? Listen, I literally, my goal, I was gonna go to Morehouse and I was gonna be an alpha and I was gonna marry an AKA. That was the plan. That was the plan, right? I love Dr. King. But as you study Dr. King and some of his files have recently come out, that we
Mm-hmm.
find out that maybe on the background, because this is all suggestive, that maybe morally he had some issues too, right?
Mm,
You know, for my TikTok people, they found out, oh my God, there might have been some infidelity and some issues, right? And the thing about it is that maybe he had situations. So now does his situations override his substance?
mm,
Is he no longer valued as the prophetic voice because he had private falls?
yeah,
Or maybe he
yeah.
had a public fall. Okay, so I stopped there because what about your cousin who's struggling with addiction?
Mm,
What about that person that lives around you, but you don't talk to them because they have a different lifestyle choice?
mm,
Are they no longer value? Is there not still value in them? And we got to be careful when we start picking and choosing people, because if there's value in everybody,
yeah,
it's our job to start pulling it out.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I have to now this is not saying that I have to accept every moral failure, but it's saying that love covers a multitude of sin.
yeah, yes.
And so go back to the example I just gave with the woman caught in adultery. Jesus always covers, cares, and then he corrects. The
Mm,
problem is we correct and then we uncover and then we
mm,
don't care.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So everybody has situations.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody got situations. Listen, if we open up the chat line, people start telling us situations. Some people's may be worse, but everybody's done something, right?
yeah,
So we agree that all of sin and fall show the glory of God. What happens to rebuilding our community and rebuilding our families is saying, listen, your situation is not bigger than the substance, the essence of who you are.
right, yes, yes.
You know, it's like that black mama love. Listen, black mama love is different. Black mama's the only people that'll beat you and give you some eat at the same time.
Yes,
And then tell you you don't talk about my child, right? I mean, we got to get back to that because it
yes,
is we have an understanding, and so we really got to pour into that. We got to say that, listen, I know maybe you haven't reached your potential, but I know it's there.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And, and,
And so
and
that's where I think see that.
I feel like people don't listen. We could say this all day. Oh yeah, we just gonna give them some grace, but do they real? Do people really? You know what I mean? Like, give them a little
Yeah.
grace. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I won't say we or me or, but there's a situation going on. It was like we got to give this person some grace, and but how? And I want to ask you this: give grace, but when the person keeps like repeating
Mm-hmm.
like you know the same, and he's like, "Can I give him grace?" I'm like, "Oh, how long I'm supposed to?" You know what I mean?
And so I think we can love, but we can let go too.
Ah, yeah.
Because I love Pastor Matthew Watley says something. He says that church, we don't fire people, we release you to your destiny. I, I, I said, oh, I can't, right? Because here's the thing. In my love for you, if I'm not helping you be accountable, I'm just as dangerous.
Ah, yeah. Hmm.
Right? So talk about that black mama love. I
Yeah.
can't love you to a point where I know you're murdering people, you're doing things, and I'm literally harboring you because maybe you need to go to jail and you need to kind of get
Mm-hmm.
cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I gotta fire you off that job, so you gotta realize that you need to come to work on time and you need to do your actual job because accountability. And so we have to always the lens must be love.
Mm-hmm.
Love don't make you a pushover.
Yeah.
Love all, but it's like, and so we have to. Oh, somebody said this. Grace is always healthy if it's led by God.
Say that one more time.
That's a good. Grace is always healthy if it's led by God.
Ah.
Because why I say it's led by God. If you pray on, I've been in a situation. I try to be very nice. There's some situations where like, okay, we gotta have this conversation, and that's still a grace given, because the grace that a person may have might not just be for that situation.
Mm.
Give you an example. If a person, you lend them some money, you say, "Hey, I'm gonna give you $100. That's my last money," and they don't give it back. That was a grace, but also grace to say, "I'm gonna still love you, but you ain't getting no more money from me."
Right.
So we have to be. The Bible says to be as wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wisdom is the call of the day, and so sometimes we think because I'm operating in love, don't mean I shouldn't be wise.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's Black History Month, but it's also Valentine's Day. Some people need to be wise, and you don't need a Valentine. You need to let that Negro and nigga go. They ain't no good. They ain't never been good. They ain't gonna be good. Okay, listen. Like, I mean, because the grace of God is even, I believe that that's Paul who says it. And because I'm in grace, should I sin more?
Mm.
Because I'm in grace, should I go on doing the wrong thing? Paul talks about that. And so we have to be careful, because we had a problem with that in our society, going back to that morality thing. Oh, well, it's in his blood. I'm covered. Well, because I'm covered don't mean you should be twerking on Instagram. I'm just saying, I'm confused. I'm confused. You invite me to church or the strip club? Which one we going to today?
I know, y'all. I'm not laughing because I'm laughing because he's speaking like the truth. Wouldn't you agree? Right?
I'm just saying. I think, and so we don't use God's grace as, oh well, I can do that, but I use the grace of God, gratefulness, and then I extend grace, but I do it in wisdom.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
sometimes there's some situations, I work for a church full time. I'm working for a church, and it's interesting because working for a church, we talk. What you see is there's some situations where some people, this ain't gonna work. You know, a church 5 people, we gotta be about our Father's business. We are doing soul ministry. I can't be doing soul ministry and you supposed to be cleaning up the church. You ain't clean up the church. You supposed to be on time. Ain't nobody to pray. Ain't nobody that. No, we got it, and so we have to understand that, whether it's business and even in your family, I still love you, but
Mm-hmm.
it's time for you to go. You can't live in my house no more. You can't abide by my rules,
Right.
and we
Right.
must understand that wisdom is the order of the day.
Mm.
And oftentimes we try to operate in our own knowledge and our own strength. But listen, you really have to be intentional with every act and with every step.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, oh man, it's kind of deep, but it's good, y'all. We're gonna close in a few, but because tonight we talked about Christ and culture, right? And I want to ask you this, and maybe some other ones can comment about this. See, they tried to cancel Christ, but on the third day, okay?
Right,
Um,
right, right, right.
and listen, and it's going around, as far as our culture, Black history. What do you mean you trying to cancel Black History Month? Like, AJ, like, what the heck? As they call them, flumpy, trumpy, whatever. Okay, why are you gonna cancel? You can't cancel Black History, but also too, we can't. I can't say we can't let him, but we still got to carry on the legacy, the culture of Black history. Your mom Black history, your grandma Black history, my mom. You know what I mean? Like they are
Mhm.
Black history, but I mean, what the hell? You trying to cancel Black history? Uh-uh.
So what if and maybe this will be controversial, but what if it's the best thing that ever happened for us? Because the
Really?
government sanctioned it, and we stopped taking it serious.
Mm.
So they have a Black History speaker at your job. Well, I ain't going to that. Or the church is putting on something for Black History. We ain't going to that. We going out tonight, or we going to eat.
Mm.
See, what happened is we wanted to be so enthralled with the outside that we weren't doing the work on the inside.
Ah. Yeah.
I tell people, I didn't need school for my Black History. I got that at home.
Wow. Yeah.
I didn't need. I did, and so maybe this will open our eyes that maybe we should actually go and read. Because if we relearn our history, some of the stuff we doing now we wouldn't do.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and so part of that is it's funny because I talked about the relevant through revelation, not revenue, being a real that reconciles the real. But the last thing I want to come into in with that is we got to go back and release the rest.
Just talk about that. Come on.
You got to release the rest. Andre, you the last time I preached to Bethany, I kind of used this text. Jesus, his first sermon, he come back and says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He has anointed me to proclaim the good news to the poor. He sent me to proclaim liberty to the captives, recover sight of the blind, to those, and set liberty to those who are oppressed." We must be in the fight of releasing the rest of the people. Right? So I am living my Black history out loud because I'm releasing somebody else. When I see a Black man on the street, what's up, Black man? When I see somebody, I'm because here it is. I release the rest when I'm making sure that I'm proclaiming liberty. You ain't got to live like this. You ain't got to act like this. You ain't got to walk like this. And I'm not judging you. I'm just telling it to you, right? We have to learn how to resist the outside, but also be restless on the inside.
Yeah.
I'm resisting the Donald Trump. I'm resisting all them whites, but I'm restless on the inside until every brother understands that he's a king, that every sister understands she's a queen, to every child know that they can be Barack Obama. Doesn't matter if you were born in Cherry Hill or Cockeysville. Until I have, that's my job in life, to go release the rest. That is our job as Black people. That's our job as Christians. That is our job. We must be purpose driven. Right? The old song, if I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living will not be in vain. That must really be our song in this moment, in this hour, with firm intentionality. And I think when we do that, Black history doesn't get into a day,
right,
or a month. It becomes a movement. I'm Black history. Listen, I'm Charles Johnson. I'm Kenneth Hemsley. I'm Harry Austin.
Yes.
I'm Nellie Austin. Yes. I'm Maisie White. Yes. I'm Black. I tell people what, no matter where I go, I don't care what doors the Lord opens for me. My Black history started in 2616 Bridget Street. That's it.
Yes.
Right? And so these people who maybe to some South Baltimore might know it, but now it's my turn to take it from Baltimore to DC to everywhere to make their names out, because you say they don't, just because they didn't have some of the presidents, and maybe because they don't have the notoriety of a Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or Nikki Giovanni, don't mean they weren't artists. Doesn't mean that they weren't world shakers. But what we do, how we release people, is we just keep telling their stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
I tell a story. Listen, you know what I'm saying? Deacon Nellie Austin, who will pray in a van for a parking space. Like, who praying for a parking? Mother, you praying for a parking space? But it is a faith in God that if I know God will give me a parking space, I know He'll pay my bills. I know He'll take me through a Trump presidency. I know He'll take me through hard times. And so it is, we release the rest by sharing the stories. Yeah. The Bible says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony.
Testimonies, yes. Yeah.
And so we must be very intentional about sharing our story. And I think this is a great time to be Black and to be Christian, because people are looking for light.
Yes. Yeah, they are.
People are looking for salt.
Well, I mean,
and so I think if we are light with our love, if we are salt with our love, that we will find that people will be drawn to us in the season, because we got something that money can't buy.
I know that's right. Yes, indeed. Listen, I'm telling y'all, I got notes going this way, that way, this way. But one thing, TJ, his dad, which is our pastor, he always tell us, go back. After I preach, go back and listen to it again, because I believe like it's always something different you can get out of it, right? But I also believe it's something that you might can give to somebody else. And so I do encourage you. I never delete these lives. I encourage you to share or go back and listen. Because when he first started, I was like, listen, I can't keep up taking notes, right? And so go back and listen again, because I promise you're going to get something else out of it. It's something that you might miss, that you can like, this is good stuff right here, right? This is something that, again, your history, culture. We learned about Christ, combination, right? And so again, I like listening and over and over and over again, right? Because I need to get it in here. You hear it, but did you hear it, right? And so tonight, it has been wonderful. I thank you so much, TJ. I thank you. I thank you. Listen, TJ, his cash app is here. He didn't tell me to put up a cash app. I said, give me your cash app. Okay. So if you want to be a blessing to the man of God, please be a blessing to him. And we'll have him back on again. We'll have him back on again. I usually ask, but sometimes it's like, you got to do Talk Tuesday. I have a problem telling people, but he was so gracious that he took time out this evening. Like he said, he got some chillings, okay? And his little daughter knocking on the door, so heard.
Yes.
And so she want her daddy, okay? And so we thank you again. Jay. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Listen, guys, also too, let me say this. Go on TJ's Instagram because TJ also has a I had to write it down because I wanted to listen to it. He has Take Time on Tuesday, right? So if you go on his Instagram,
Yes.
only about 5 or 10 minutes, no more than 10 minutes. It's Take Time on Tuesday. I go back, I be like stalking them, like, okay. He missed that. He was like, "Oh, it's not Tuesday." I was like, "Okay, I got you. Okay, we gonna do it Wednesday. I got you too." So, but it's stuff that can bless your soul. If you're not feeling that good that day, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed or whatever, just go on his Instagram and just get some inspiration and some motivation, right? So go on his Instagram, his Facebook here. If you want to send him a separate DM, if you have a question that you didn't ask tonight, you want to ask him, send him a DM or Facebook or Instagram. He'll get back to you. Again, this is his cash app. Please be a blessing. I am. Just because I'm doing it don't mean you have to, but I'm asking you. So again, TJ, thank you so much. His name is Therm James, y'all, but I call him TJ. We all call him TJ. So
It's fine. They call me Pastor TJ at the church, so it's fine. My kids, so it's fine. It's fine.
So again, we thank you for coming on tonight. It was definitely a blessing. I thank you all too for participating, comments and questions and things like that. So I do appreciate you. So TJ, thank you so much, nephew.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Good night. Yeah. Stay on TJ too for a few minutes. Stay on. Hey. Listen, I'm telling y'all. I can't say I was not expecting that tonight, but I know my nephew. I watched him grow up. I watched him go to college, seminary, and theology, and he going to college. Probably get his doctrine because that's the type of person that he is. And so he has been a blessing tonight. And so listen, if you want to be a blessing to the man of God, please send him a cash app and I will appreciate it, and he'll be very thankful as well. So listen, that's the end of Talk Tuesday tonight. And so listen, I thank you guys for tuning in. Now next week, Talk Tuesday will only be on for a half an hour. We're going to have a moment in Black history. I'm going to be calling upon some of my poets, and so they can bring some word of poetry to in recognition of Black history. So tune in next week. We're just going to be on for a little bit, not that long. Also, at the end of February, we will not have Talk Tuesday because I'll be back traveling again. So I'll be out of town. We'll be back in March. So next week, Talk Tuesday, then I'll be back in March. Okay. So again, thank you so much for being a part of Talk Tuesday. I thank you for your support. I thank God for giving me the vision of Talk Tuesday. I'm actually in my content room. I'm doing some rearranging in here. And so God is blessing, right? And so I'm very, very thankful. So listen, that's it. Talk Tuesday. Share this this live. Share this interview. Well, not an interview because it wasn't an interview, but share this tonight. Your family, your friends, niece, your nephews. Share this. And so yeah, that's it. So listen, peace. Thank you.